Hello and welcome to the reunion for 1984 Power of Three. Cindy just won the game at a vote of 6-2 to 0. We are here to give out some awards. So the first award tonight is the biggest underdog of the season. Our nominees are Nolan, Gianna, and Tawny. The winner of the biggest underdog of the season is Gianna. So Gianna won biggest underdog because she was nominated a good amount of times early on, and then she was able to keep herself in the game all the way to final 8. Nolan was also a big underdog, getting nominated week 1, and then Tawny had basically the whole house flipping on her. So all three of them were very deserving of that award, but production did decide to give it to Gianna. The next award is Social Butterfly of the Season. The nominees are Cindy, Jason, and Sam T. Production decided to give this award to Cindy. So Cindy got this award because she, as Kevin very much put it, she had a very good read on this house, and she always had connections where whoever went out, she was able to stay good with everybody. Jason and Sam T were both nominated because they had deals with pretty much everybody. However, the two of them got caught very quickly. Well, for Sam T, it was very quickly. For Jason, it wasn't quite as quick. But yeah, that's why we gave it to Cindy. Next, we decided not to do Best Alliance this season because there was really only one big alliance this season, and that was the Power of Five. So shout out to them. But we did decide to do Best Duo of the season. So the nominees for Best Duo of the season, and we had a good amount of these this season, were Cindy and Bryce, Tawny and Nolan, and Kevin and Billy. The winner of the Best Duo of the season is Kevin and Billy. Kevin and Billy pretty much decided what happened for the first good part of the game. They were kind of the leaders of the Power of Five, and they also were in good with other people, i.e. Cindy, who was good with Bryce. And so that's why the two of them have won Best Duo of the season. Next, we have Biggest Blindside of the season. The nominees are Xander nominating Kevin, Rizzo voting out Bryce, and Xander, Tawny, and Cindy nominating themselves. More so, that's Cindy and Xander getting themselves put on the block to target Tawny. The winner of Biggest Blindside of the season, though, is Rizzo voting out Bryce. That was a very fun video. I don't think that Bryce had any clue that he was going to be the one going. I think if he had any slightest doubt that he was going, he would not have wanted that eviction at that time. That's why I said, are you guys all sure you want the eviction now? But it is what it is. So yeah, Rizzo, that you win Biggest Blindside of the season for voting out Bryce. Okay, next we have Most Robbed Pre-Juror. The nominees are Tawny, Caitlin, and Galen. Our winner for Most Robbed Pre-Juror was Tawny. So Tawny wins Most Robbed Pre-Juror because she was in a very good position, and then next thing you know, the whole house flipped on her. Good job for Kevin and Billy on that, as well as Xander and Cindy for carrying out that move. Caitlin also was nominated because she dropped her phone in the pool, and if she hadn't done that, I do not think that she would have been evicted. And Galen was nominated because he was our first boot, and as he has made it clear, he gets first boot quite often. So our next award is the Most Robbed Juror. So our nominees are Kevin, Bryce, and Nolan. The winner of Most Robbed Juror is Nolan. We chose Nolan for this award because Nolan did not have cards at the triple eviction, and it was a big twist being the triple. Kevin, I do think game-wise that was a very good move because you obviously knew that your target wasn't going to be able to save themselves. However, he was definitely robbed. Okay, now we're going to get into the big three awards. Hero of the season. We went back and forth on this one because this is not the biggest group of heroes around here. So our nominees, what we decided on, our nominees are Xander, Tawny, and Bryce. The winner of Hero of the Season is Bryce. We chose Bryce for Hero of the Season because if you look at the story arc of the season, you had, let's go to the next award first, and then I will explain why Bryce won Hero of the Season. So our nominees for Villain of the Season are Nick, Kevin, and Billy. We decided to give this award to Kevin. So, Kevin, you are the villain of the season, self-proclaimed villain of the season. Billy, you were right up there with him as his duo, but we did ultimately decide to go with Kevin. So, looking at the story arc of the season, you had Kevin's side, and then before Xander put up Kevin, it looked as though Bryce was going to have to be the person that was going to have to win out. He was able, obviously, with Xander targeting Kevin, to flip that around. So with the oppositions being Kevin and Bryce, that's why we ultimately chose Bryce for Hero of the Season. And lastly, we have Player of the Season. Our nominees are Cindy, Bryce, and Kevin. The winner of Player of the Season is Kevin. So Kevin played a very dominant game. He said to us that somebody has told him that it's about the time that you peak. Kevin peaked 18-6, which in 18-6, Kevin pretty much chose everybody who was leaving. It was Kevin's decision. Whatever Kevin wanted was pretty much what was going to happen. He had at least some influence on what happened. Obviously, other people in the game had very big decisions that they had to make. As Cindy said, she was the deciding vote from 8-6 who was leaving. However, Kevin had a very big part in who was nominated and all of that. As Kevin also said, his alliance of the Power of Five was in power for pretty much the entire game. So that does not discredit anyone else at all. Cindy played a great game. So with that, that is all our awards. I know that Kevin had one question that I will answer really quick. So Kevin, the 2 votes to evict you in week 2 were Sam Yu and Bryce.
I was bored, so I just was like, let me just throw a random vote. I don't know, I was bored. And then it turned into this big thing, and I was like, I'm gonna just shut my mouth.
So with that, that is all the awards. So now we can go through, if anybody has any questions or anything like that, we can go through that. Or if you guys just want to talk, that is fine. We will release the chart at some point once it's completed. We still have to add the last couple things in there. But yeah, does anybody have any questions for us or each other?
I want to speak up. Xander got absolutely reamed in the finale. I think Xander played a really great game, and I love him, and I'm really sorry that that happened, Xander. So I think we should all go around and say something we like about Xander.
I do want to say
I really enjoyed all of our calls. I now learned that I replaced Samu as the person who stayed late on call with Xander. But I enjoyed staying late on those calls.
I do also want to say myself, Xander, I don't think you got enough respect. But listen, as a friend to you, buddy, I think you actually did a phenomenal job this season, like all jokes aside.
Xander, I agree. I love you, boo. Almost threw another rogue vote because that's what I've been doing this whole season. But it wasn't so much a vote against you as it was a vote against making sure Rizzo didn't win. Because I thought Cindy deserved it. And if I knew for a fact Cindy had the votes to win, Xander, you were for sure getting my vote. But I wasn't positive that Cindy was getting the votes, and I think she was the most deserving.
I may have gotten out like hella fucking early, and there were like 3 people that I still talked to in the game. And Xander, you were one of the ones that I was always on call at like I would say 1 or 2 a.m. talking about video games. So that's the one thing I did take away from the game, is that I got you as an amazing friend.
Xander, I just think you should throw hands at SeaWorld and like call it a day. Like throw hands at SeaWorld. But I love you, buddy. Honest to God, I totally love you. And you know, all the conversations that we had around teaching, and your mom, you know, being a teacher, like all of that, it warmed my heart, every single one of those.
I think you're pretty funny. You made me XD a few times, and I did appreciate that.
It was nothing against you, Xander, that I went in on like that. I was pretty honest about, I think, your decision. And sitting next to Rizzo, you and Rizzo just played a very similar game, just Rizzo did it 5% better. But overall, you were a lot of fun to talk to, and I enjoyed being in an alliance with you the entire season.
Xander, honestly, I just loved our first conversation of the game. Was basically like, let's cut the shit. I'm tired of trying to get to know people. Let's just talk game and let's see what we can build from here. And it's something I really enjoy, just because like I hate the social game, and I know in an online community, like whatever, but I hate the social game. So I'm glad I was able like just to basically cut the shit with you there and just go for it. We were robbed of a Final Four Power of 5 though. That's all I'll say.
Xander, between you, Blake, and Paige, you're probably my favorite ginger, and I wish we could have played more Pokemon battles on Pokemon Showdown.
I was just really impressed with you. I thought you played a fantastic game. I was really, really impressed with it.
Xander, you are such a sweetheart. I just really wish you would talk more, but you're definitely a sweetheart.
Like, I didn't expect this to actually happen, and then it did.
I mean, can we all yell at each other again? That was more fun.
Oh, do you want me to start?
I don't know.
Yes, Galen, please start.
Oh, I'll start off with the Sean crap. This is a legit question for everyone. Did at one point during week 1 did y'all think that there was an Ascendance Alliance?
Yes.
Yes.
No, but other people did. So
like everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
All right, so
Oh yeah, I purposely was saying, oh, they have to be in some type of alliance. Whether I believe it or not, I was
Tony's
pushing it.
main discussion point was like the Ascendants. They're in Ascendants together.
So there was. Shocker. And that kind of has to do with the reason why I went out. I thought it was because of Tawny saying that I was me crying. Oh, there's Caitlin. Caitlin already knows about this. So she's already heard all me ranting to her about this. I don't hate Caitlin for it. I love Caitlin to death. But I thought Tawny was the reason I got out, because that's all I heard from Sean was him saying Tawny said you're being emotionally manipulated by crying. Let me promise you, I was not. I'm just a huge fucking crybaby.
Oh, same. There was only room for one of us here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Oh, I already talked with you, Caitlin. I'm fine with you. You know I love you to death, and I love Gianna to death too. But essentially what happened was, I think it would y'all made a separate group chat without me because y'all got paranoid that y'all thought that was gonna throw us under fire, and so Sean said from the beginning. He told me all this in the alumni chat. He said that from the start I knew I had to get you out because you tend to just be very vocal about what you think and what's going on without realizing it. So essentially Sean was the reason I got out. He was the one, he worked with, Cindy can vouch with me on this. We made a chat, it was me, Cindy, and Sean, and we were all working to try and get me to votes to say sorry Nolan. And I was like, oh, so you basically lied to me, worked against me, watched me cry on camera with my sister who had just gotten there, and you didn't feel any remorse, and you decided to then just be like, screw Galen, bye. So it's a shame he's not here because I want to rip into him so bad. Because he got
message him.
He ain't gonna respond.
do want to apologize to two of my targets, Caitlin and Nolan, for taking y'all out when you had no chance to stay.
Who said that? I can't see the name. I'm on my phone.
Kevin.
Oh, it's fine. I don't care. I know I was gonna win anyway.
My question would be to production. Why wasn't there a biggest rivalry of the season award? I would have loved to see nominees like me versus Jason, but more importantly, which would have won would probably be Sam and Hunter, or
Sam and Tawny.
Sam T put himself in that situation. I'm sorry, but there was no reason Sam T should have put himself up on the block, and now it's another fucking T.
We tried to not get him to do that.
Yeah, so
I'm literally still questioning to this day why Sam T put himself on the block, because I do not see a valid reason
I
why.
thought he was drunk and said something I shouldn't have.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I
because
think
Tony
what
said he
happened-
was going to nominate him post veto, but I think it was just stubbornness. I don't know. We can
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think the power of five was just pushing. We're like, don't go on the block in any scenario, because that is literally the worst thing that can happen here. And like, he was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm like, oh okay, you go do that.
Was this before or after? Like, because I remember we had a conversation while I was at lunch at work, and then we were just like, we're gonna pick this up whenever I get off or whatever. Because I remember being up at customer service, and then all of a sudden, like this is when we're making our list, like of 1, 2, 3, 4. Who like 1 and 2 are who we wanted to be. Then friggin' Bryce, you were just like, oh, well, Tawny and I have the same number 1 and number 2, so we're just gonna do that. And then that's when Sam said we're going up, and I'm like, no, we're gonna wait until I get off work and we're gonna talk about this. And sometime in between, like us being on the phone, and then shortly after, it's like, oh, we're all going up.
I will say though, Sam T wasn't even supposed to leave that week. But, Kevin and Billy didn't want Sam T to stay, so then they didn't vote for him.
Well, our reason behind that is that we thought it wasn't going to be an instant eviction. We thought it was going to be a triple eviction. And we were like, if we spurn the house by saving Sam T, and then, I don't know, any combination of Bryce, Tawny, Nick, everyone that was anti-Sam T, 3 of us were going up.
It would be, the noms would have been me, Sam T, Kevin, with 2 of us leaving, and then that was just a bad situation to be in.
Yeah, had we known it was instant, Sam T 100% would have stayed.
Right.
But with the triple, you can't risk pissing off the entire house just to keep Sam T. It sucked.
That was probably like one of the hardest votes I've had to cast, just because like I love talking to Sam, and we even talk on Facebook every day now. So that was hard.
I'm very sorry you guys had to keep me.
I'm just glad I found out I have a special talent.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tawny, but yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask, what the fuck was y'all's hashtag positivity? Because I was about to come back into that house, switch all of your throats because it was so annoying, it was so extra, and it was literally one of the most.
They're mad. No
I
one
just
liked
didn't
them.
understand that.
Okay,
what
hold on. I got this. Hold on. So we were literally all on call. Like every single person, I think everyone but Rizzo was on call. And we all decided, like, listen, like it wasn't supposed to be it was supposed to be unironic, like actual positivity. It wasn't supposed to be like this joke that everyone was taking it to be. It was supposed to be unironic positivity, and genuinely, like, we just did that, and like afterwards I saw how shitty it was, but that wasn't the intention on God.
I will admit, I committed to that joke. I'll be honest. Like, for me, I hated all the negativity, that it was the same post after post after post. Everyone was just like, this is not it, terrible noms, all that. And I'm just like, you know what? No, let's have some fun with this. Let's spread some positivity. So I started, and I'm just like, guys, let's just start spreading positivity. So I posted on a lot of posts, hashtag positivity. And you know what? I'm in it to be positive. Did I take it too far? Yes, I think I did take it too far. Because a lot of the time, I just did it to be extra as well. What was it? Was it Billy Stevens that said, I think I want to positively kill myself?
Yeah.
I think that was like my favorite of
him.
all the ones. Because that was just, they took it way too far. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
Well,
Do
it's
you
also
think
like
y'all
I
would
leave
have
the
had the same
house and like
reaction to like? What were you saying, Nick?
I leave the house and like I know that I am not the best at delivering the honest truth. Like I'm gonna tell you like it is. I'm not gonna bullshit you. We're not gonna sugarcoat things here. That's not what I do. So like me, like Nolan, Tawny, like Sam, all these people are leaving, and now you're like a lion, or like way you're pulling out. It kind of seemed like you guys were bragging, like, oh, we got like all the negative, and whoa, 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 like, yeah, I didn't deliver myself the best, but like, I don't hate any of y'all. But it just seemed like that's what you were doing.
I think especially for me, that was not supposed to come out that way. I understand now that probably wasn't the best thing to do at all, but it wasn't like, it was just, what kind of just like got me annoyed was just all the Facebook people, and it was just like everyone was just commenting and just hating on a certain group of people, which was that side of people, which got extremely annoying after time. So we decided to spread positivity instead of responding with negativity.
I will agree. I agree with Billy 100% here. I agree. It probably should not have been done, but I mean, I did a lot of things in this game that really should not have been done. So, you know,
I meant it mostly just as a joke to the Facebook people. I'm sorry it didn't come off that way. Because I legitimately was just like, this is funny because people are being negative. And so I was legitimately
on everyone's post, no matter who is getting nominated, no matter who is doing what, the negativity is going to happen regardless because everyone is a fan of someone.
Oh,
like,
no, for sure,
for sure. Production after this, or I was talking to production about this when it happened. I'm like, I really think that people that are in the game shouldn't have access to the Facebook group, because then you're literally seeing the fans and like your non-fans, like what they have to say about you, what they have to say about things. Like it
I agree with
completely
that.
changes the game when you have access to that type of information.
I kind of agree with that just because it won't.
Had y'all not seen that?
I think I agree with that just because like it won't like, because I know at some points like I was like, especially talking to Kevin, I was like, listen, Facebook's really starting to piss me off. I'm like I don't know why, like it just got me into like a whole nother emotional state for no reason. And if I didn't see that, I wouldn't have known, sure, but at the same time, like it obviously didn't affect any of my game decisions, but it just got me like extremely like annoyed, especially like some of the people, like even some of the pre-jurors were just like being extremely negative, even when they're trying to say they're trying to be positive when they left the house.
Say their names.
So like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it was like fuck it, Sean. He was just like being so negative on every time like someone he didn't like won, and he was like leaving out
You're
like
not
everyone's
wrong.
gonna be potentially positive, and then he's like putting these disgusting, like not disgusting, but like negative posts on certain people's things. I'm like, you're being a hypocrite right now.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what y'all are saying because I'm gonna forewarn y'all before y'all go into the alumni chat. Some people aren't really happy with most of the jury, with how like from what they've been hearing was happening in game.
But I mean, like with what Sam you and like we definitely got a word from Billy Stevens after triple, because it was very true how Sam, it was kind of just like, you know, don't talk to those people, wait for them to leave. And that wasn't cool. It was a very cliquey season. I think the problem with that is when one side wins power, essentially the entire game, that tends to happen. But yeah, no, I understand the hate for sure on that. Like, it's definitely the biggest regret of the season for me was the.
And that's why I got a target on my back, because like Kevin and I, we were close. Like I could have hitched myself to Kevin's little wagon, and I could have rode with him, you know, to the end as well. But that's not the game I play. I want to make my own moves. And I thought early on that, you know, Kevin was, I mean, player of the fucking season. Like right here he is. Like dude's good. And I caught on to that. And that's why I felt like I was so passionate, because that's typically not the person I am. I'm not the person to threaten. I'm not the person to scream, but like nothing else seemed to be working. And I just needed people to see like, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. And, you know, I own my game. I know that I apologize to anyone who may have had a bad taste in my mouth once I left, but I just trying to do what I could to like shake things up and maybe give this season a different narrative than the narrative it was headed down.
That's exactly why you were targeted. That
Oh, I know.
Because-
Yeah, fully
because it's
aware.
Nick doesn't put up any bullshit. It's just like, well, when you're trying to control the narrative, like that's got to stop.
Basically, what it came to jury when Nick called me out, and I knew he was not necessarily a fan of me and Kevin. I knew that HOH for me was a must-win HOH because I was like, listen, Nick's got to go, or he's gonna get his band of revolutionaries to turn on me and Kevin, and that's gotta stop now. And
I almost think Nick would veto.
That's what happened with Hunter as well. Like we were like, listen, Hunter's starting to gather a group of people. He's got to go.
I still stand by. I should have saved Hunter over
Oh,
Nolan.
the Hunter move, I think, is one of the most underappreciated moves of the season. That's such a big target to get out that early. That
I'm just so glad Gianna and I were on the same boat with that, and we're just like, let's get Hunter.
I have no real opinion on Hunter because I didn't get to talk to him that much, and he didn't talk that much during the first week.
It's so funny, Billy. You just forget that I was in that PO3, right? Like, okay, got it.
Also, I mean,
I don't forget.
Jason, you weren't in the PO3 because you didn't nominate Cindy, right?
Well, listen, the thing is, Jason, you were extremely hesitant, and I felt like if I had to nominate Nolan, we had in our group, I felt like I had to give up Nolan. I didn't want to nominate Nolan. I told Gianna this. I didn't want to nominate Nolan, but I wanted to make sure that Hunter went up, and you were extremely hesitant that the move was going to backfire and he'd come after us. And I was like, listen, if we don't do this now, he's going to attack us later. And I was like, listen, this is do or die for me. And that's why I was like, listen, you can put up Nolan. That's fine. But where I put my foot down was on the renom when you wanted Kevin up. I'm like, no, that's not happening. No.
See, again, though, like the narrative, right, Cindy? There's the truth, right? I told you I wanted Kevin up. It wasn't you. I rolled over on the PO3 so that we didn't go up together. Like the PO3 didn't go up. But I was very honest with you in that space, and that's the truth.
I know that. See, the thing is, before that, you had told me after the first time you nommed me that if you were in PO3 again, you would put yourself up instead of putting me up again. And then that didn't happen. So
and also that kind of dynamic was kind of a little skewed in a way because Jason, you only gave me 2 options to choose from because you were like, listen, I don't want to nominate anybody who hasn't been nommed yet. So I want to nominate the only 2 people, and there was only 2 people at that point who were nominated and survives, which were at that point Kevin, who was my ride or die. So at that point, I'm not going to put up Kevin, and I'll go on the block for him. And then Cindy, I was like, listen, I didn't want to put up Cindy, but at the same time, I was like, listen, it's better Cindy than Kevin. I think Cindy has the votes to stay. I told Cindy, I was like, listen, I think you're good this week. I'm pretty sure I have the numbers. I said I guarantee, and then all that shit happened where Hunter almost stayed. So I felt like shit. And I thought Cindy was going to come after me the whole game until Kevin got in there. And I'm like, good. Just keep her away from me for a little while, not to come for me.
Honestly, me and Cindy surviving those 2 weeks was like a Christian miracle.
It really was. It really was.
And yeah, y'all went from
For me, my thing, Jason, was that you had said, if it's me and the power of 3 again, I will put myself up instead of putting you up. And then from that, I then hear it's not that at all. It was me or Kevin had to go up because you didn't want more blood on your hands. So that's 2 fully different narratives. And so the one that you told me prior is not the one that actually came through. And that was when I was like, okay, we can say blank slate as much as we want, but I know for a fact that in the past, Jason has promised me things that have not come true and have come to bite me in the ass. So yeah.
But you still won the game.
I sure did.
So I just finished up the fantasy draft and totaling up the points. And also we had the production draft. So for the fantasy draft, which any fans or VL or whatever could submit 4 people for a team. And so they got 1 point for every placement. So if they pick Cindy, they got 18 points. Rizzo, 17, Xander, 16, so on and so forth. So the winner of that,
I'm sorry.
The winner of that draft was Rachel Roth, the new winner of Trinity Survivor with 57 points. Her team was Cindy, Rizzo, Kevin, and Tawny. So she had a pretty good team there. And then we had the production draft. We had a draft between production, and then we had a draft between production and the original Power of 3. So I will go through, let's see. So Caleb's team was Bryce, Kevin, and Gianna. Blake's team was Sam, you, Caitlin, and Justin. My team was Tawny, Xander, and Nolan. Drew's team was Sam T, Jason, and Sean. Paige's team was Rizzo, Hunter, and Galen. Megan was our winner with Cindy, Nick, and Billy. And then the production-only draft, Paige had Sam U, Hunter, Bryce, Sam T, Sean, and Gianna, picked in that order. I had Tawny, Jason, Nick, Justin, Billy, Nolan, picked in that order. And Blake was our winner with the team of Caitlin, Rizzo, Xander, Cindy, Kevin, and Galen. Blake had the final four, so that was fun. So yeah, that was the drafts. So congrats to Megan, Blake, and Rachel. I would also like to point out the fact that Megan Humphreys got second place in the fantasy draft with 51 points. So yeah, so that's all that VL stuff. You guys can go on talking now if you want, or if you have any production questions or anything like that, or if you guys just want to continue how you were. Or I think Blake might have some words. It looks like Blake has some words. Let's do that.
All right, so if y'all have watched Surviving or like followed along with the past seasons of 1984, you know that I have like a compiled list of Blake notes at the end of the season that I like to discuss at the reunion. The first one being, Rizzo, I actually think that you played a really, really good game, and I think that it was very discredited in the final jury segment. Cindy, I think you played an amazing game as well, obviously. I do have a little bit of something with Kevin. Kevin, while I do think that you set up bits and pieces of the Bryce move, I think it was very much also Rizzo's move as well. I think you can't take full credit for that because I think it was both of your guys' efforts to actually execute it. I already said the Sam T thing. I really didn't understand why Sam T put himself up on the block. I didn't understand why everybody did not evict Kevin at the final 8. Like, I was literally mind blown. Like, Xander had the right mind.
That was bad, guys. That was
bad.
I
was like, they were literally cheap. Production was literally questioning why nobody was getting rid of Kevin or Billy since the pre-jury phase of the game. Like, they were literally running shit. So it was questionable.
I was gonna say, the only person who should be exempt from not voting out Kevin should have been me.
Oh yeah, that was fine.
Me voting out Kevin made no sense at that point.
I stand by the fact that I wanted Kevin out.
I actually think if you would have voted out Kevin, it could have benefited your game a little bit because you would have been viewed as a single. I think it would have.
The thing is, at that point, I'd have to win out to even get in that position in the first place because at that point, I don't think Bryce and Cindy take me in.
Billy,
this cast doesn't care about duos. They just let him slide by. That's just what it is.
As someone who was the result of going out next to a duo, yeah. I don't know how y'all just let Nolan and Justin slide by.
We weren't a duo.
That's what he said.
Nolan and Justin weren't really a duo, especially as Justin left the week after. But yeah, I think that Nolan and Tawny were more the duo. So, yeah.
I am still going to stand by keeping Kevin that round because it keeps a big target in.
I do think it definitely benefited Cindy in the long run because obviously you ended up winning. So I can't discredit you too much. But I think it was a much more risky move because if Kevin wins one of those final 4 comps, he very likely wins the game.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
I was a victim of why everybody was keeping. Yeah, it was questionable why everybody kept Kevin until the final 4 because you literally have one chance in 2 competitions for him not to get to the final 3.
Well, after he was safe, we wanted him out every week.
Also, Xander, I really want to say real quick, I think you also
just wanted Billy out before Kevin. I wanted Billy to be the one from that duo to go first.
Cindy, why?
Because we didn't have a connection.
But I'm not winning. I don't win.
But I don't think you take me there.
I think I would have to actually.
Oh, come on.
No, at that point, like,
Oh come on, Billy. You told me so many times you're taking Xander and Rizzo.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, but I don't think that happens. Let's say for some reason Kevin doesn't win veto there, Kevin leaves over me, whatever. I don't think I can take Rizzo and Xander to the end like I would want.
Yeah, it was still, I wasn't on the want list, and I always wanted to be on your want to take to the end list.
I don't know. It was just very hard because, like, I was always battling, like, trying to figure out when I wanted Kevin out, and I was like...
And I also...
This is the best duo. This is the best duo for me and Cindy. This makes the duo.
Listen, Kevin and I kept it real with each other. We were just like, listen, we got to take each other out eventually. We just don't know when it is.
I also want to put this out there. I think a lot of people credited Bryce with a lot of the moves between the duo. I definitely think that Cindy was a lot more the head of that duo.
I said that.
Cindy did a lot. Now, that doesn't discredit Bryce at all, but I think that Cindy was very much in charge of a lot of the decisions, while they also made a lot of decisions together. Bryce and
I literally had a call about this.
We did.
Because,
right.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm not getting credit for shit that we're doing. And
I don't want it to swing like too far in the other direction. Like I wasn't just like a sack of shit just being Cindy.
Absolutely.
No,
but I think that Cindy deserves a lot of the credit that Bryce was getting. Yeah, like specifically when Gianna left, Cindy was like going to go tell Bryce that she wanted to keep Kevin, and then Bryce basically just said, okay. So like there was a lot, and there I could have missed something with that, obviously.
She wasn't gonna budge, was
right.
Yeah, I went into that headstrong, and Bryce was just like,
definitely as soon as I got to jury,
Gianna, I told you, Gianna. I told you.
When that debate was brought up, like when Bryce versus Cindy, mostly everybody was kind of just like, oh yeah, Bryce is leading. I'm like, there's no way Bryce is leading. I genuinely believe that Cindy is leading between the two of them.
I think I vote it was the partnership. I don't necessarily think
I do think it was a partnership.
I think it was a partnership.
Yeah.
I think we pretty evenly split it, but maybe.
And I mean, that's what I had been saying. I was like, I think it's a partnership, but at the end of the day, I feel like if Bryce put his foot down, Cindy would like fold into it. And I mean, the Jason vote is a complete and utter showing of that. Do I think there was one leader over the other? No, because I also know that Cindy had put her foot down and Bryce had also fallen in line. So there is definitely that partnership, but my perception was they talk about it, but I feel like what Bryce says goes. And obviously I was incorrect in thinking that, but that was my perception.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely what Bryce said goes during the Jason vote.
Yep. Pretty much.
It was very.
Regardless of me, like actually, like agreeing to it, I promised Bryce and Cindy the world if I would stay in that vote.
I don't think that was not a thing that came out of your mouth, Billy.
Bryce or Billy, at one point it looked like you were gonna stay at the beginning of that round. After that,
oh yeah.
And,
I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny because Billy had kind of started complaining that we pushed it back a couple hours. But if we hadn't pushed it a couple hours, I think it actually would have been Billy going, which was very interesting because it was about 20 minutes after the original time that is when it flipped. And so it was really just kind of funny to me when Billy complained about us moving the time, because that actually could have been what saved him.
I will say that like Michael is right, because me and Jason, I swear to God, did hours of planning that round to convince Cindy, and I swear we had Cindy. But given the extra time, I feel like Cindy was able either to talk or.
Can I say this week, like this round in particular, from my perspective? I was just telling Jason whatever the fuck he wanted to hear so he would stop messaging me so that my phone wouldn't die.
I thought that's what kind of happened, because Cindy literally PM'd me. I think it was like 8:45. She's like, "You got to start campaigning," and I'm like,
"Yeah,
okay.
no, literally." I was like to Jason, I was like, "Campaign to Bryce. Like, I'm fucking done with it." And I was like to Billy, "Start campaigning for yourself. Like, both of you, stop talking to me. Everyone, get out of my PMs. My phone is dying. I am busy. Like, I will think about it, and my vote will happen how it happens." But you all need to shut the fuck up because I'm trying.
I didn't bug you. No,
you didn't. No, them two, Rizzo and Jason, needed to shut up because like I was at a friend's birthday party. We had another friend whose parent died and just had a fucking miscarriage. Like, I'm dealing with some serious shit in like good friends' lives. And I have fucking Jason sending me voice chats, and I'm like, shut up. Like, sure, I'll keep you. I don't give a shit. Like, fuck off. No offense, but I was just very busy.
I will say though that I did the same thing by promising everybody the world just so I wouldn't be campaign 2, and it backfired on me. Actually, I do have a question. I have a question for Kevin, because this is something that really bothered me in the game. Sure, you had a lot of control or whatever, but when something didn't go your way, you became the biggest crybaby of the season. And I to Xander, when I put you up, you were like, fuck you, fuck off. Like, I don't understand how, I don't know, I don't want to say why I lost, but if I lost because I unnecessarily lied, why does you cursing at me when it's just a game, like, not
I
count?
know, and I'm going to counteract on this before you say anything.
Go ahead.
I did make a comment, I don't remember when I did, but for those of you who were there, I thought it was kind of funny how for 3 rounds in a row, Kevin got nominated and immediately left call after he heard his name. He didn't state a plea. He didn't stay to do anything. He just immediately left after hearing his name. I don't know what was going on with you at the time, Kevin, but I just thought that was kind of funny.
Which rounds?
That was the round I nominated you. You left afterwards.
Okay.
The round Rizzo nominated you. You left right afterwards.
That one I was on the golf course, and so that
Did it burn?
That one did
That's
not.
That's why in the round I was nominated next to Kevin, I was kind of just like, all right, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and hopefully Kevin just self-implodes here. If he doesn't win veto, hopefully he self-implodes.
Literally 5 minutes and he comes to my PMs like, fuck you, you're a bitch, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, all right, dude.
Okay, and that's also why I partially want to take Kevin to the end, because I felt like if Kevin and I were able to get the even split, which I don't think would have happened in like game moves, then Kevin's attitude would have made him lose compared to me.
Because I will say that no matter how dishonest or whatever I was to my game, I don't think I would ever take it to that level to just piss off somebody personally. So that really did bother me. And I said this to Kevin too, no matter what he said to me, if he made Final 3 and I was in jury, I was still voting for him. I just felt that what he did is kind of disrespectful for a game to what he did to me and Xander. And also, I will say this, I want to call you out on your bullshit, because you told the power of 5 in the beginning of the game, whoever beats you at your own game will get their vote. At Final 4, I beat you in endurance and Xander beat you in a puzzle, and you didn't even give us the respect of opening your mind for our vote.
Okay, I can respect that. As for the calling y'all out, Rizzo, that was definitely more like I was not playing a good round, and then it was just, then I got nominated, and it was also both of you, like, you just kind of ignored me when you guys had both told me that I was safe, and then so I was just like, if I'm in this supposed alliance where, like, if I had won, there was no chance either of you guys were going up, and then just to be ignored and then put up when I knew that you were especially talking with other people, and I kept asking just to get a conversation with you, and then you just left me on red until you nominated me. I was like, that's kind of fucked up. And then so I took that as disrespect, so I put it back.
Did I not tell you that round that I was thinking about putting you up just because you put me up?
You also told me that I was safe, and then you said we would get on call, and then we just never did, and you left me on red.
But did I not tell you after I said you were safe I might put you up?
I'd have to go.
I did. But it's fine. Listen, it's just a game, I understand. But that was my gripe with you. Like, even what I did to Bryce, which was far worse than what I did to you. I guess he called me a sociopath. But
I did call you. Sorry about that. I said you're a sociopath or a pussy. It was one of the two. So you pick your poison.
But, at the end of the day, I think Bryce knew that I just had to make a game move. So, like, part of me also knew that I wasn't getting Bryce's vote anyways because Cindy was there. And I guess it was bad jury management, but that move to me was to solidify that, because I remember Nick said in the beginning of the game that, I'm just following people. So to me, it was like, listen, this is my move. Nobody told me what to do. I did it myself. I guess it backfired on me, but it's okay. I'm actually very happy with the way I played because it's very different from how I usually play games. So
I just want to talk about Tawny's feet.
Please, let's not do that.
I want to. This is for Livingston, and I want to talk about Tawny's feet. I want to talk about Tawny's 12-second cup stacking. But then Tawny, you were out in the balance competition in like 7 seconds. I was like, what? Stacking feet, and then you were like, oop, cups. Ah.
It was fun. It was funny because like I think that's where Tawny and I started to argue a lot. Was just that round, and I think that's what started everything.
Okay, I literally you and Kevin were sitting there pissing me the fuck off for no apparent reason. Like seriously, I'm like, and it's still fucking annoying the fact that neither of y'all have admitted what y'all had said to me.
Because I don't remember. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, literally, if I thought I told you you weren't going to win the veto regardless, I think I would have been a little more...
Because one of y'all said it, the other one was just sitting there agreeing. Because I remember we were on a Zoom call from, like, the Republic. We were the only ones in there. I remember being in this room. I had set my phone up, like, on this chair. I had my cups in here. I was sitting on the floor, and I was just kind of trying it out because I had to go to sleep in a couple hours. And
play-by-play. We love that.
Like, I remember things. Like, there was a reason why I won that competition. I was fueled by pure fucking rage. Because I'm like, there's two people that I'm supposed to have, you know, like, a somewhat friendship with, and then they're over here treating me like crap for weeks. They sit there and say this to me, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to try not to actually be a flop for the first time in my fucking life, and I won a fucking competition.
I genuinely believe that you misheard what we said or Zoom cut off for a second because I remember saying something along the lines of, I don't think you need to try anymore because you won the veto.
That was later.
I said that before because you had a time of like 20 seconds. I think
I didn't record anything until the morning because I spent I spent about 2.5 hours before I went to work, and that's when I got it to 13 seconds, I believe. It was either 13 or 14 seconds. And I'm over here thinking that I'm like, I need to get it down to 10 seconds because our conversation that we had happened the night that it came out.
I will also want to say this for Tawny's sake, that I was onto Kevin's bullshit because I remember when Kevin, you know, Tawny ended up leaving, Kevin was like, haha, I'm 3 for 3 against Tawny. Last time was
2 for 2.
I beat Tawny and Trinity and now I'm here and I'm just like, oh, okay. And then
I
Kevin's
will say, I think the way that Billy and Kevin treated Tawny was a little bit extra. I think it was a little too much at some points, but also from a game perspective, I think you guys did exactly what you needed to do to further your game. I think on a personal perspective, I think it did go a little far.
Well, I think that it was an alliance that was doomed from the start.
Okay, I don't think I said.
Sorry, can I butt in here really quick? Sorry, Billy. I have to go. But congrats, Cindy. I'm so fucking proud of you. Love you all, this cast. It was super fucking fun. And I hope to talk to a lot of you after this. But peace out.
Bye.
I think the biggest gripe where it became personal was like not like I don't remember saying anything personal. So if I did say stuff that was personal towards Tawny, I do apologize. That definitely wasn't like the intention there. But I think my biggest gripe at that point was I was like tired of 5 rounds in a row trying to keep Kevin and Tawny from snapping on each other for like the 17th millionth time, even though they were both on calls with me, like yelling at me saying, I'm tired of Kevin, I'm tired of Tawny. And I'm like, bro, like you're pissing me all off. All you need to shut the fuck up. And it just became like a problem at that point. And like if I said anything that was overly personal, I apologize. I'm not trying to throw Kevin under the bus, but I think it was all Kevin who said personal things.
Yeah, but it's like I think it was mostly Kevin, but it was also like you weren't sticking up for me either, and you were going along with whatever the fuck he was saying. Like, it was very clear it was a 2v1 situation in a 3-person alliance.
Because it was the situation where I think I got pissed off and was done with you when you lied to me about trying to keep Hunter.
I think all my anger became from a game perspective, because if you just told me that you were trying to keep Hunter, sure, I wouldn't have been upset. But the way that like I heard it from other people, and then I asked you about it, and you said you didn't, and then like it just became like I was like, listen, I'm done with Tawny. I'm not trying to talk to her after this. Like I'm good. Like I just want her out now. Which Kevin was like, haha, I fucking told you.
No, but the thing was, I wasn't going around campaigning for Hunter to stay. The only person I really talked to about it was Nolan, because I knew I could trust him. There was only a couple other people that I even said that I'm for sure keeping Hunter, because pretty much everyone I was talking to, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I had Hunter locked in to stay, so my vote was on Cindy for the majority of the day. But I did change it at the last minute because I still was thinking, oh, if I change it, I change it. I'm not going to sit there and tell someone I'm for sure doing something when I don't know if I am or not.
I also want to say about the Hunter vote that Kevin said that wasn't even a big move, but if I flipped, Cindy would have went and Hunter left.
It was Rizzo. It was the conversation I had with Rizzo right before, whenever he's like, I can't get rid of Cindy.
Right.
That's when I messaged Nolan and was like, put your vote on Hunter. Take it off of Cindy.
And I was literally in the middle between two sides, and obviously I was with the Power 5, but literally Hunter was actually someone that wanted to work with me very hard in this game, and Hunter was like really upset that I voted him out. So the fact to say that that wasn't even my move is kind of, in my eyes, like kind of ridiculous, because I could have flipped and Hunter could have stayed.
I'll be honest, Rizzo. My whole point was to refute everything you said to get Cindy the win.
All right, can I ask you guys, because obviously this is my first time getting here, so it actually is a big, like, I'm happy, even if I lost, and I'm happy to play with all of you guys. But so the people that didn't vote for me, what was it that ultimately said, yeah, fuck Rizzo? I'm not, like, if I was up against Kevin, would I have won, or like, was I just losing off the jump?
So for me, you were losing off the jump, because the one thing I told you, Rizzo, the one thing I told you was to be honest with me. Yeah. And you had 2 opportunities to do it, and 2 opportunities you chose actively not to.
If the thing is, for me, it was that scenario was you wouldn't have won against Kevin. I don't think anybody in the cast would have won against Kevin. So that's like that. Just throw that out the window. You could have had my vote against Cindy if you didn't tell me I was safe for Final 6. If you just told me straight up you're putting me up, you probably would have had my vote. Because the biggest issue between your game and Cindy's game, you both are really good socially. One of you lied over and over again. The other one kept it real. You both kept it real. I would have voted for you because I was closer to you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, your jury management sucked. That's really what it came down to.
Like, Rizzo, you didn't play a bad game. I think that it came out that way, that you played a bad game. I don't believe anybody here thinks you actually played a bad game. I think the issue was that you unnecessarily lied to people, which turned people off from voting you. And at that point, like, if I had to say one thing, just if you played, like, the way I like to say it, you played a Survivor game in a Big Brother format.
Yeah, your gameplay with Cindy's was, you guys were, like, right here, like, neck and neck. Like, there was definitely pros to your game and pros to Cindy's game. But Cindy was able, even though she was cutting your throat, she only had to, like, really be shitty or shady to a couple people, where you seemed like you actively, like, were doing that to a lot of people. And that's, I think, what put Cindy just that little bit higher than you, that got her the votes. Because you guys both did play very great games. Xander played a great game too, baby. I love you to pieces. They were just more out front. And so that's where your games were, like, even, and then the jury management is what put you below her, in my opinion.
Rizzo, one more thing I had that I wanted to say. I thought that your Final 6 move, or Final 5 move was iconic, for sure. However, I was screaming in the production chat. I was like, what is Rizzo doing? Because, like, at the same point, I feel like if you would have went to the Final 3 with Cindy and Bryce, you would have actually stood a better shot at winning, because people would have possibly split the votes between those two, and you could have gathered, like, votes as well.
I think at that point, if you were going to get rid of Bryce, you just don't use the veto.
My thing was it ended up working against me, because I wanted time to break it to Bryce. But Xander said, like, let's just do it now. And I was like, whatever. Like, I'm not going to have to, like, sit in a call with Bryce and make him feel bad. So let's just do it now, which is something I own up to, but it's whatever.
Also,
like,
Xander actually brought so much to this season, and I fucking love Xander. He's so funny.
Play of the season. Me just saying, let's just do it now.
Xander was one of the first people that we wanted.
Michael Davis.
Yes.
Why the hell did you think I cheated?
Okay, so we can talk about that.
Oh, it's a lot of.
We can talk about that if we really want to. First off, you noticed Galen's face first, which was very suspicious because everybody noticed Nolan's first. I noticed Nolan's first. So like that was a little suspicious. And then also every single time you took like a couple seconds and then you like just immediately had it. And so like that was a little suspicious as well. And also you were the last person to go. So like that was suspicious. And you waited until like last minute. So
like
but
everybody would at least look at pictures to see like, oh, it could possibly be this person and this person.
Yeah.
But you were like 2 seconds answer, 2 seconds answer, 2 seconds answer. So it was like it was very suspicious.
Yeah. Though I had no proof, so if you did cheat, I mean, I couldn't do anything about it. So
let's get production favorites.
Oh god.
I mean, if you guys want production favorites,
why not?
So we all agree that Paige is my favorite, right? Like we're on agreement here that I'm Paige's favorite.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. She's not even here, but also
No,
Nick would
I don't
be
agree with that.
Nick.
I don't agree.
Nick would be in very big contention.
Nick, you're hated. You don't matter.
I think that Paige would choose Xander, but Nick would be in very big contention. I'll say personally, I think my favorites to watch this season were Tawny and Nolan. I think that Nolan was one that he was an underdog this season. And everybody likes an underdog. I think that Nolan was somebody that could have gotten first boot and then found his way out of it. He was very fun to watch play. And then also Tawny is, for one, Tawny's one of my friends, and so I liked watching her play that way. But then also I think Tawny's gameplay is just really funny to watch because she's also very quotable. So like that's fun. There's a couple other people I could shout out that I really liked watching play. Like Jason was really fun to watch play. I liked watching Xander play. Like Nick was another one I really liked, Nick's confessionals. So like I really liked this cast overall. But if I had to like pick one or two, it would have been Nolan and Tawny because they were the ones that I enjoyed watching, I think.
I don't have a favorite. I love you
Okay,
all.
Blake Murphy.
That's such bullshit, Blake.
No, but okay, I would say I really did enjoy like different aspects of every single one of you. I
agree.
I liked the crackheadery of Sam T. I genuinely love and adore Sam U for a while. Nick, obviously, I enjoy watching play all the time because he's not afraid to say whatever the fuck is on his mind, and I respect the fuck out of that. Gianna, I loved seeing how big of an underdog she was, how many times she got nominated, and she still, I feel like she genuinely tried her best to win those competitions and
absolutely
get in there. Tawny, obviously, I have a lot of love for Tawny. Xander, Ginger, so he also was probably one of the funniest people. Nolan, I hate you. I'm kidding. I love you. Rizzo, obviously I loved watching you as well. Kevin and Billy were the villains that I didn't understand.
I will say production, we don't rig obviously, but we were definitely rooting against Kevin and Billy this season. Absolutely. Absolutely we were rooting against
very
you.
aware. We knew.
Yeah, there was definitely a message in our VL that was sent out to our VL to not be leaking what we were saying in there. So, but yeah, we, as people, obviously we still love you guys, but watching you guys play, it was like, for one, why are these people not getting rid of you? Like, it's obvious. But
listen, bring us back for All-Stars. That's it.
But yeah, production was definitely rooting a certain way this season, but obviously, but I did still enjoy watching you guys play. You guys played very great games. So
Honestly, slaying production and Facebook favorites was probably my best part about the season.
Oh, dude, the pre-jury is just chock full of that.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I did think the season was a little bit questionable at the jury phase because everybody did let Kevin and Billy get as far as they did, and so I was very. I got a little like for a little bit. I was a little. It got a little uninterested.
Cried so hard.
But Blake, literally the first time that Billy and I weren't in power, I got. Yeah, like literally, the first 3 evictions were me and Billy's HOH. So no one let us get through.
Right. I think you still like you guys did survive 2 votes where both of you should have been evicted. That's.
Do you think y'all survived because it turned into a final 3 instead of a final 2? Like, do you think y'all would have been out sooner had it been a final 2?
If it was a final 2, I would have probably cut Billy sooner.
Yeah, my gameplay definitely changed when it turned into a final 3. I would have gone to the next HOH and got Kevin.
Because when it's final 2, I'm not keeping
with
Kevin
the
at
Kevin
final 8.
Gianna vote because I figured at that point because
if it were a final 2, I'm keeping Gianna. If it were
a final 2, and a final 2, I think it's unity, and the other way Kevin leaves.
Yeah,
and at that point, I would have sent Kevin out the door because that would have easily freed me up.
It also would have changed my triple because then if my triple would have been like Billy, Jason.
Well, you guys didn't know it at the triple though.
You didn't know, bro. You didn't know the triple.
No,
yeah, we told you guys. We told you guys at the end of the triple.
No,
it was after the triple.
Really?
Yeah, it was after the triple.
Yeah, it was
I
after.
thought you hinted after, like,
Well-
once jury. No, because once jury said, you said, don't.
The power of 3 is still around, but you didn't know
Yeah,
why.
we said the power of 3 was still very important, which we told you guys
because he said
afterwards. Yeah, we told you
I
after.
didn't know
because I
didn't
said
know the final 3 until after Nolan and Sam came into the jury.
Yeah, because I
they
said
there was going to be 5
there's 5 evictions. Yeah, which I'm still mad that I didn't keep the recording going. I'm still mad about that because those reactions would have been great. But yeah, we told you guys after because we said there's 5 more evictions.
Yeah, I think that if it was a final 2, it completely changes how the game goes. I don't think, I definitely don't believe Kevin goes as far as Kevin does. I don't, in the final 2, I don't even know what the final 2 would be.
I think if let's say everything worked out the way it worked out, and it was me, Cindy, and Xander at final 2, I think Cindy, I don't know, I can't speak for Xander, would probably cut me unless I win. Then I think I would have took Xander to the end with me.
Well, the thing is, I think one of you 3 at least doesn't get to the final 2 if we go back to the final 8 and replay it and it's a final 2 scenario.
I think I was pretty open. If Gianna would have stayed there, I don't think Gianna would have been put up. I think at that point people would be like, well, Gianna is someone.
Yeah, I think Gianna would have been someone who went a lot further.
Yeah, if Gianna didn't go when Gianna did, Gianna makes it closer to, like, I would say at least 4th, because then you guys are going to target each other and you're going to let Gianna just kind of slide by.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if Gianna doesn't leave when she did, I think that either Rizzo, Xander, or I am not in the final 3, and she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Bye, Sam. Oh, here we go.
I think also at the same time.
I love playing with Sam T. The crackhead in that was insane. Batshit crazy, but really fun to watch. And for his first war, he went out with a bang.
I'm so glad he was. I'm so glad he was on our side.
Oh yeah, I would have hated him if he wasn't.
Yeah. Imagine getting put up because of him.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was just like. My favorite thing of the season was like Nick saying, "Everyone wants to join the Power of 5. Let's not do that." And then we just like grabbed people for the Power of 5.
And then everyone joined the Power of fucking 5, and I was like, "Okay, whatever." I'm being led to the jury.
I was gonna say it's so funny that how we were this big dominant alliance, but I can speak for myself that we probably combined like the whole game had maybe like 3 alliance calls. Like we weren't as tight, I feel like, as people.
We were more active when it came to voting.
Right.
Yeah. When we won Power, we knew like, listen, there's no reason to talk. We can just like figure it out later. But like because like we were all straight up, we were much more of a texting group rather than a call group, which I was so thankful for because I can't call all the time. So, and that was just so fun. Like, well, not
and I said, Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I said this in jury, that the Power of Five, while they may not have been practicing, they still had that allegiance to each other. So, like, regardless of if you were talking and, you know, you were making your own decision, it didn't matter. You guys were going to bring each other further just for numbers because you knew you could trust them more than other people. So, like, I don't like people downplaying the Power of Five, like, oh, it wasn't that big of a thing. No, but it was. You may not have been practicing and, like, talking to each other, but you still had that loyalty.
Nick, when you called me out there, I had to do anything in my possible to deflect. And I was just like, shit, this isn't a thing. They put up Kevin week 2. This isn't a thing, I promise.
Really, I do want to say this, though, that I'm glad I didn't say it, but, like, throughout the entire season in production chat, like, I was kind of comparing myself to Tyler Crisp, or whatever his last name, you know, Tyler from
Crispin.
BB.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to say it because I knew that if I brought it up in questioning, then I would have lost because Tyler, I mean, I lost anyways, but, like, Tyler lost too. So, like, I was like, when you said, like, I played like a Tyler game, I was like, yeah, that was what I was going for. But
yeah, no, you would have lost regardless of if you brought it up or not, because you did play a very similar Tyler game.
Yeah.
Who somebody said it, you wrote too many checks you couldn't cash.
I feel like, okay, so, like, if I had to compare the final, if I had to compare Cindy and Rizzo to, like, people from Big Brother, I've seen very much Cindy being Steve Moses. Like, just very, like, under the radar, didn't really have to, like, didn't have to do a whole...
Kevin, my Vanessa Rousseau of the win. Yeah.
Right. I think the end of the season was very BB17.
I'm sorry. I am sorry, Michael. Like, the villainry really, this is my last Big Brother game, and so I was pulling out all the stops. And at some point, I mean, you guys could definitely tell in my production chat, your boy stopped giving a single fuck.
Oh, we could tell.
Oh,
Michael, I have to ask, is honesty villainous? Like, I didn't necessarily see myself as a villain, but, like, maybe I was, but, like, just to be nominated, I was like...
Yeah, what the fuck? Nick was a hero.
I was going to say, Nick's a hero. He only went against the 2 big villains.
I was like, I don't know why I was a villain, but...
I thought Nick was a lock for hero this season.
Yeah, I thought me and Kevin were like, Nick's definitely getting hero, and then, like, it's just going to be, I'm like, yeah, there's no way. Like, the head of the other side definitely had to be hero.
I don't know that I was the head, but I appreciate you saying.
Oh, is that Jake?
Yeah, that's Jake.
What's that, Jake?
The entire issue with the other side is that there was no head, there was no other side. Like, we could not get our...
Okay, but my whole thing was just like, hey, even if there isn't another side, let's just keep pushing that there is
Nick,
another
I
side.
will fully take the blame for us not
Because,
getting
like,
together.
I love you, girl, but the dishes in your cabinet are probably pretty dirty because the number of times you said clean slate and didn't actually mean it. How clean are your slates really?
Oh yeah,
How
no,
clean are your
clean
slates
slate was
really?
never met. I never had a clean slate with none of you fuckers.
No, exactly. I was like, this girl said it all the time, but those slates were never clean.
No, they absolutely were not.
Cindy was like, I'm about to be brutally honest in my answers.
In an alternate universe, Kevin, myself, and Nick make a final 3 and run it.
Oh, Kevin, at what point did you no longer want to take Nick and Bryce to the final with you? Because
like right away.
I'm pretty sure someone told you, but I had like walked in on, it was like a Republic call, and you were talking to, I forgot who was there. It was probably Mac, and I just remember walking in and hearing you say that you wanted to take Bryce and Nick with you to the end. It was like very early on in the season.
Pretty much right away. I'm pretty sure that was like probably right around the time that we were in.
It was right before y'all won Power of 3. It was like the round before.
But then that started to change during the Power of 3, and then especially the Hunter vote. It was like, all right, I love Nick as a person. Nick gotta go, but no one would have evicted Nick.
Kevin, I had your back. Like, you have no idea how much I was in Hunter's like PMs. Like, listen, we can, like, Kevin's not a threat to you. Leave the dude alone. Like, boy is fine. And then turn around and Tani's on her way out, and she's like, oh, by the way, Kevin wants you out. And I was like, whoa! And
It was a thing of like all I did the entire game was use eviction to just paint a bigger target on someone else, and so as all the pre-jurors, I mean, a lot of big threats went out in pre-jury, and so it was just like eventually.
Does not include me.
Like,
you don't know that.
Touchy subjects exposed the fuck out of me, and it's just like. I have to make Nick and Bryce. They're the only people I think that I could actually paint as these massive jury threats. Yeah.
It wasn't even a
I
thing
hate
when you
to-
tried to target me. What are you talking about? I was the first juror. I wasn't a jury threat.
I hate to interrupt both of y'all. I'm about to go. I have 3 things I want to say. One, my curse is broken. I made first jury in another game.
Hey.
There you go.
It wasn't Skype. It was a normal Facebook game, and I was like, I don't know if I want to count that, but Skype, I'm still nope. Speaking of games, send me games that are casting because my break's over and I can't handle not playing a game anymore.
Traveler and Tumblr Survivor.
Wait, what?
There's a game called Travelers and then Tumblr Survivor.
Send me the links for both of them.
Michael Hearn is a king. Please apply.
Michael
He
Hearn
might
is the
send you the
best
same
host
message,
ever.
pick one, because I applied for both, and he's like, you can't play them both.
Shout out
Which
to
one's
Michael
not
Hearn.
on Tumblr because I don't have Tumblr?
Michael
But you don't
Hearn
need
is a
Tumblr
whole
to
asshole.
Tumblr Survivor is fun, but there's too many liars in that game. I mean, granted,
I hate Tumblr.
I
It
agree.
can't be as bad as
Rizzo,
Tumblr
there's
is.
too many what? What is there too many of, Rizzo?
liars.
Oh, okay. So you fit in perfect.
So
This might make me a hypocrite, but I think there's a lot of clicks in Tumblr.
I want to say this. Like, I played in a challenge game with Nick before. I played in a challenge game with Billy also. But like, nobody really gave a fuck about social dynamics. If you ever followed me or anything, everyone knew that I was always loyal to my alliance until we just got completely decimated. So I knew coming into this game that I actually wanted to beat 8th place. So I literally did everything I could to make it to there. I found my ally and Jason and Sam T, and then I just rocked with it that way.
Sorry, Rizzo, I'm about to go. But my third thing I want to say is I hope that I can play with y'all in another game. I may or may not work with you because as history has shown, every time I've worked with someone that I know, I go out. So if I see you in a game, fuck you.
If I see you in a
guys.
game, Galen, I'm not shawning you. Like, know that.
Yep.
If I tell you I got your back, I got your back.
If I see Sean in one more game and I'm with him, it's on site. If I win HOH, I'm gonna be like, Sean, go ahead and sit up there. Your ass knows why you're up there. But I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
And also the whole Nick thing, I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, Billy, I feel that was a lot more you than me.
Yeah, that was completely me.
Yeah, but
Yeah, like I will take credit.
And the
for
thing
that.
is, I didn't even call you out, Billy, as like you were like, oh, you said you were targeting me. No,
Oh,
I said you were
dead
targeting me. Like, don't get too twisted.
Dead ass. I really got that misinterpreted, but I knew I wanted to nominate you anyway.
wait, okay, so Nick, had you won Power, who were you nominating?
Had I won Power, love you, Gianna. You probably would have went up.
On that first.
Well, after Tawny told me, yeah, you and Billy were going up after Tawny told me, but prior to Tawny and I talking, neither one of you were on my radar.
Okay.
Was I on it?
Rizzo, I didn't trust you as far as I could throw you, so yeah, I probably.
All right,
honestly,
all right.
I'm gonna head out. Bye, everyone.
Congrats, Cindy.
Congrats,
Thank
Cindy.
you.
I'm proud of you.
Kevin, we really messed up. We could have really just made a side alliance with Nick and just like continued the dominance.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is like the front half of the season is kind of like, I want to say BB12-esque. Like there's only one big alliance kind of with like small pockets of duos here and there. And then like moving on, like Billy said, that like the later jury half is kind of like BB17-esque.
I'm really Austin.
Can I please interrupt the Kevin Billy show to go ahead and bring Sam T into the conversation? Because Sam T hasn't like said anything, and I love you, Sam Potter. I love you. I just wanted to say I love you.
Sam's gone, baby.
Not Sam.
Sam's gone, baby.
I'm sorry, Samu. I love you, Mr. Plotter. I love you. I love you, Mr. Plotter. I do love you to death. I do. And I couldn't, I couldn't save you in that vote with Rizzo. And I like literally like, because Rizzo was my number one, right?
I know.
So I literally though with my Mr. Plotter, like I was never actively plotting against you. So I do love you though.
I appreciate it. This game was a lot of fun, although I was silenced by a lot of people. Kevin, we've already talked about it. I really
I'm really sorry. It's the
No,
only
you're good.
time
You're
I've
good.
ever-
I really don't like that fucking Billy ran to you and was like blah 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 because I was
Oh,
venting
it
to
was
Billy.
it was literally the second you got evicted.
Because I was venting to him right after. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful. And then he was just like, and then I didn't realize he ran to you, but I was like, Billy, come on.
Listen, like a group Snapchat, and he like posted a video. He's like, oh, I was gonna try to impersonate an Australian accent, but he's just like, Billy and Kevin, you guys are fucking terrible for what you did to Sam. He is so nice. He didn't deserve that. And I'm like, I know.
No,
Listen,
I mean,
and
it's a game.
And that's the thing, like, I don't want it to be taken, like, in that way, like, where we're, like, insulting you guys. And I really, like, if I could go back in time and, like, hindsight's 2020, I would have not done that.
No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, even if, Kevin, you made it to the end, I, like, you played a dominant game. So, like, I still respect game regardless, you know, so.
I think that when me, Nick, and Sam were in the jury, we were all really bitter at Kevin, and we're like, oh, fuck him. We're not giving him the win. And then Kevin stays, like, unanimously, and I'm like, fuck Kevin, we're voting him to win.
Yeah, you gotta respect it. Like,
I was like,
everyone
God
should've got you
damn
out.
this guy. Like, I hate him, but I love him at the same time.
I will say, so this was my 6th org. This is my 4th player of the season.
I do want to say that I literally told Kevin the whole time, dude, you know what got me, Kevin? Like, I don't know if you were being genuine, but when you started crying at Final Four,
Michael, how was my confessional before eviction?
I went
Kevin was very emotional in his final confessional.
Because
I don't know if I'm open to sharing it, but it was like 4 minutes of trying to fight back tears, and then I couldn't do it any longer. So no, it was very real.
Literally, I'm not gonna lie, like, after everything that you did, especially like to how you acted, and when you were like, Xander, please vote to keep me or you lose. And like, I literally went to my prod chat, I was like, dude, this kid Kevin is like fucking ridiculous. Like, I was so upset because I thought you were fake crying, and I'm just like, there's no way you're doing this right now. But
No, it was like as soon as I lost veto, I put in my confessional, and it was 100% real.
At that point, because like I was like talking to Kevin, and I'm like, he just literally, no, not like that. We were just talking, like, Kevin and I talk outside this game personal every day, so like that's like nothing else. But like, he told me, like, I'm not talking to you right now, please don't talk to me. I'm like, oh my god. Like, he literally like would not answer any of my texts. I'm like, okay, this is fun.
Here, actually, you know what? Here, I'll prove it, because I told Michael I don't want that confessional sent to the VL. I don't want anyone to hear it.
This is recorded, by the way. This is recorded.
I know. I'm fine
letting
with
you
it, but I will just play you just the last part of it if you don't think that it is.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna take the game's over. I'm gonna take your word for it now. But as it happened,
guys, I don't want to share. I really don't. It is what it is. I know I'm getting fourth. But yeah, I mean, for pretty much my last game, it was a good game to go out on. Just, I really fucking thought I had it.
So no, it was not fake.
That's so heartbreaking for a portion of me, and for the other portion of me, I'm like, the karma.
Oh,
karma.
yeah, I love it. 100%. That's like, yeah, but
As a person, I'm like, oh, he wanted this so bad, but as a player, I'm like,
oh no, I feel
I'm glad he got to cry.
Oh, I know Tawny feels zero sympathy. Tawny, out of anyone on the cast, like, has the biggest reason to not want to ever play with me again. Now, whether or not you have to play with me upcoming, we'll see. But
we'll
find out.
I do want to take a minute and say my personal favorite part of this season that does not involve Kevin and Billy for once. I think my personal favorite would have to be with Tawny, and it was it post veto or pre veto when I'm doing game night with one of my friends. We're in the car going to Meyer, And here is Tawny getting more and more frustrated as me and my friends are singing camp songs on our way to Meyer. We're sitting here in a car. There's 5 people in a small car. We're screaming at the top of our lungs camp songs. And here's Tawny getting more and more frustrated because she just wants to get this over with.
This was, I think, after veto because we were trying to come up with the renom.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like,
at
first
point,
we had, like, a little idea of, like, a couple names for a renom. And then whenever we actually needed to make it, it's just like, you're just over here fucking around. Like, you can't take 20 minutes to walk away so that way we can come to some type of fucking decision. And then we came to a decision, and then you're just like, nope, I'm going to listen to what Kevin and Billy have to say, and we're just going to go up.
I mean, to be fair, it was at that moment when I knew, and I told Cindy this is what we were doing, and, like, I didn't mean it as that at all. And I mean, I think we've talked about this. I don't know if we have, but I did not mean it as me, like, saying, fuck you, you know, I don't care about what you think. That was me honestly having fun. I was trying to have an actual conversation with you in the car, but then they just started screaming at the top of my lungs. And these are my friends. This is, like, my squad. You can ask Paige, too, because Paige knows that.
It was even later on, like, because you had, like, forgotten your mask or something, so it's like you had time alone even after that. But even then, like, we weren't getting anything done because at that point, like, even if y'all had it, like, already decided, I had a gut feeling that that was going to happen because, like, you were just being completely unreceptive. You were saying that the only people you wanted up were Bryce and Nolan, which were mine and Cindy's safeties for the week. And then whenever we, like, okay, who else were we going to say? Because I wasn't going to say Billy or Kevin's name because I knew that one of y'all were going to go back and say that. So I was doing everything I could to not say their names. And I was right. Had I said their names, you would have gone back to them and said I said their names. Because from what I was told, they were looking for any type of reason to get rid of me. And I was being loyal as fuck for no fucking reason.
I will say, however, I would not have went back to them and told them that you said their names.
I think you're going to the wrong person. I think in that point, Xander wouldn't have came back to us, but Cindy would have.
Cindy would have. 100%. Because
that
the
three-person
whole
chat
game.
was basically what was happening in that round was basically Cindy was getting off call with me and Kevin, immediately jumping to the power of 3, hopping off call with them, coming back on call with me and Kevin, and letting us know everything that was going on.
Oh, I totally believe it.
And we're like, okay, cool, this is nice. I was supposed to get nominated in the morning, and then it got shifted all the way to the night where, like, we're not even considered for going up.
Because I wasn't going to let y'all's names happen because I knew it would come back to me. And I was already on, like, we were all on, like, thin ice with each other at that point. So it's just like, we just need to make it past this one fucking vote. And then it's just like, then I can officially break away because we'll be at jury. I won't need y'all as, like, a shield anymore. But, like, this is fucking ridiculous because I'm just over here thinking, like, literally, they have 0 spines. They're listening to Kevin and Billy for no fucking reason. You're putting yourself up on the block because of this duo. Like, literally all that had to happen was Jason not wanting to be the 5th member of the Power of 5 to keep me and send Xander out.
Okay, so basically, like, I think that's the move, like, Kevin and I are most proud of this season, just, like, strategically, that just, like, I'm not sure how that happened, but it just did, and we were, like, so
because this cast was filled with freaking spineless jellyfish who just wanted to sit up y'all's ass this entire fucking game. Like,
Can I say something really quick?
If y'all, like, search the alumni chat, I literally said that they need to make merch of Kevin and Billy as shepherds surrounded by sheep with all of y'all's faces on it. Because seriously, that's what it looked like from the outside. And I'm sure that Billy and Kevin probably feel the same way, that all of y'all are like 90% of y'all were being just their sheep the entire fucking game. Like, there was nowhere else y'all wanted to be besides up their ass.
No, listen, in response to Tawny, I wasn't keeping you. It was very simple. You filled up my DMs all damn day trying to get me to change my mind, and I wasn't voting Xander out. It wasn't happening.
You weren't telling me what you were doing. You weren't even talking to me.
Exactly. But you should have already put 2 and 2 together since you saved Nolan the round before that I was not keeping you. Like, I was not keeping you. I was keeping Xander. Like, Xander had done nothing to me.
I hadn't done anything to you.
Whatever.
I saved the person that you just kept putting up because you didn't want to put any more blood on your hands because you were over here trying to be buddy-buddy with everyone in this fucking house when you can't sit there and play that way.
I did.
I could play however I did, and I got.
Okay, Rizzo, you fucking
got out
ignored me
pre-jury.
that entire fucking day. You were not playing buddy buddy with people.
You got out pre-jury.
But also, Tawny, out of any of the pre-jurors, had she stayed, Tawny was in the best position to make it far.
Oh yeah, I think Tawny, if she makes it past that round, she's guaranteed 5th place at least.
Oh yeah.
No, Tawny was
Gianna-
going to get 6th place. Come on now.
That was kind of a joke.
But she didn't have an idol in her pocket, so I think 5th was a lot.
You act as if I wouldn't play a fucking idol.
No, but like that's kind of why I felt like Tawny was definitely in a really good position. So like that's why I was kind of proud of that. I was kind of proud of that move because especially with Kevin and I making that move. More so Kevin. I'll give Kevin props for that.
I'm gonna be clear. Had in the endurance comp, in the instant eviction, I probably was gonna put up Tawny because of what she did with Nolan. I would have, because at that point nobody else was gonna take that shot. But then Xander, you guys all did that the very next round. Like in the instant, my mind was already made up. It was either gonna be Nolan or Tawny.
You're mad because
But Tawny was already gone.
You're literally
So-
mad at me because I saved someone, because then you had to put more blood on your hands. It's like, it's a fucking game. You can't play this game squeaky fucking clean. And what are you going to do when Nolan goes? You're going to have to find someone else to fucking nominate. Like, you had something against Nolan for no fucking reason other than the fact that you nominated him week 1 and you didn't want to nominate anyone else.
And that's kind of that's why I kind of was like in my power 3 getting out Hunter that week. I was kind of like, listen, you can have Jason, you can have Nolan. That's fine. Just give me Hunter. And he was like, all right, cool.
Gianna, real quick, I want to let you know because I feel I did kind of hear you at the end of when I was saying who I would put up. Had it been the round after I stayed, had you voted me to stay, Gianna, I had your back. I had Nolan and Sam first because they were just the two that were always riding with me. But had I stayed, you were not. I was completely honest with you when I told you that, and I just wanted to let you know that. Prior to that instance, you probably would have went up as like my choice. But had I stayed, I had you. And I wanted to make sure that was clear before we continued on. I wasn't lying to you when I said that, like, I would have your back, because I 1,000% would have.
I appreciate that.
Oh, and Gianna, so like, it was nothing personal with you, but I have this thing where I don't like keeping supposed goats in the game because that should be my spot. So that was the whole thing, because everyone had seen you as someone to take to the final 2.
It should be.
So for me, I always want that to be my spot because I'm normally not this good at competition. I'm normally not this good socially or strategically. I'm normally a shit fucking player. So the fact that I actually had some type of footing in this game, I'm just like, okay, what do I need to do? Like, getting that person out would have been really good because then it lets space for someone else to go into that final 2 spot, and then it's a final 3 and everything just got fucked up. Granted, I didn't have to.
I gotta hop.
I got ignored by you. And I was really trying to like talk to you and trying to figure something out and try to work with you. That was the only thing that really bothered me. But I mean, I get it.
On a lighter note, just some of my like quick favorite things about this game for me personally. First off was the competition that Jason shaved off his eyebrows in. I was really busy and I was like moving into college, but like I didn't want any of my allies to get mad at me because I wasn't like trying as much. And like, so what I ended up, so I went on call with Cindy and I performed many of the things like on video with her. Like I had to, like I was like on a Skype call and I was like doing my shower with clothes on, and then I did the eggs and I ate the Pop-Tart and it was like disgusting, and that didn't pay off. And then my other favorite moment was, well, the most tragic moment of the season was Sam's veto getting snatched, me winning it, wanting to use it on both Nick and Sam, and then he's using it on Sam. Nick is evicted. Me and Sam both go home in a double eviction. By the way, I didn't even put, which we all know I didn't play in veto. So if anyone wants to ship me some playing cards, hit me up.
I was so mad about that damn veto because I have done card stacking before, but my hands were so fucking shaky, so nervous that I could not stack those damn cards. And like literally
slightly my fault because I was the one I was talking with Michael. Was Blake there too, Michael? Or was it just me and you?
I don't
and I
remember.
think Napolito, because we were sitting there talking about that competition because Michael had said something about like, oh yeah, you can like over guess on, you know, some things, but then really under guess on others, and it'll kind of, you know, even out your score. That's
Oh,
when
I
he
know what
went
you're
back
talking
and
about.
redid it, and he's like, shit. And I'm just like, oh, does this mean Nolan won? He's like, Tawny, shut up. Don't say anything. Okay.
It's like I've got to.
So that was
I
my
was
bad.
so mad. I'm glad that we went back and caught it when we caught it, because obviously I want the right person to win the challenge. Because if Nolan would have went home that week, like I would have felt even worse. Like, but I was still mad at myself for not.
I don't think there was.
I woke up to this long ass message from Michael.
I know.
And he was like, Sam, we need to talk about something very serious. And I was like, what the fuck did I do?
I felt so bad. And my production,
Nolan
I
called me
figured it
all
out.
excited when he found out too, and I'm just like, I already know.
I figured it out at 4:30 in the morning, and so like you weren't up and production wasn't up, so I had to I spam called production, and I finally got Blake awake, and then
For like
he
2 seconds.
he didn't give me enough information for me to fully do anything about it. And then I'm like, well, I guess I'll set an alarm for 4 hours from now and hopefully get people before they start campaigning, because then I started seeing people message and campaign. I'm like, I've got to stop this. We got to stop. We can't do this, because I don't want to screw somebody over because they campaign and then they weren't able to do something. And so I finally just had to make the decision, and I think Blake got on, approved what I said, and we just went with it. But that was hard. I didn't know what to do. It was a hard situation.
There was
but...
many times in this season that you didn't know what to do, Michael Davis, because you didn't
Oh,
think
yeah,
about
I
it
know.
prior.
I definitely would have been the renom. I'm 90% sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kevin,
I think you
now
would have
you would
too,
have
because
been
I was talking to
Yeah.
Billy that day, and he was like, oh my gosh, congratulations on the veto. And I was like, cool, thanks, whatever. We didn't really talk that much. And then in the morning, when that happened, we messaged, and he was just like, oh man, this really sucks. And I was like, why? Because Nolan was your renom? And he was like, no, and I was like, it's obvious. It's so obvious that Nolan was the renom. But it was so funny.
That's what made me extra happy, is I ruined their plans from outside the house.
I'd have to go back and look, but I thought it was Bryce.
I'm 70% sure it was
I
Nolan.
think I talked to he's told me it might have been Bryce, but before he said it, but when I talked to him, I was talking to him. I'm like, so am I good this week before the original noms? And he was like, you're at least good for the original noms, so he can tell me I was good for the whole week. So I'm like, what the hell does that even mean?
From a production perspective, it looked like it was going to be Nolan, but then Billy and Nolan had got on this call, and it lasted a long time. And after that, Billy in his production chat was acting like he didn't know what he was going to do. So at that point, I'm not sure if it would have been Nolan or if it would have ended up being Bryce. But at first it was going to be Nolan, but I think that their call kind of leaned him away from that.
That was his worst move. I cannot say how bad it was to renom Bryce there. That burned so
Was that
much.
on the block? Was it Nick? No.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Nick. But
Oh,
it was
okay.
because that's the reason why it was that whole Cindy wanted out Billy, and Bryce was really upset because he thought Billy had his back and then just renommed him. But yeah, my favorite thing of the season, Nolan, obviously.
Playing golf?
No, well, yeah. But was you causing the California wildfires to burn out all my horses?
Nolan's so good.
No, no, because we tried saving. At least from my perspective, we tried saving Tawny because I thought when Tawny told me about I heard about it from I don't know if Tawny told me, but there's also
the Power of Five.
Yeah, but
I
also
told you about that whenever they told me about it. I think.
And then I leaked that shit to I know I told the first people I know I told Sam, and then I thought Nick knew at a certain point because Tawny told
Nick,
Bryce.
I didn't tell until I knew for sure I was on my way out, but I think I had talked to Bryce about it, if I'm
Yeah.
correct?
I thought Bryce would tell Nick because for some reason I thought they were close, but I ended up telling Nick about it too. And I was like, yo, we have to do something. We have to save Tawny. And then she like goes home. And then from that point on, I was like, well, it's me, Sam, and Nick because I figured Bryce and Cindy would just like switch over to their side. And look who the power of first three jury boots were. So
I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody really outed it. It was kind of just like everybody talking to everybody and they just knew in the back of their head because I didn't know you guys knew until Nick came to me the Sam T vote and it was like, oh, you're keeping Sam T, right? And I was like, yeah, that's where I'm leaning right now. And he was like, it's because of your alliance. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? So then I talked to Kevin about it, and Kevin's like, yeah, we told Tawny week 1. I was like, what the fuck? So then like from
I don't really remember doing that, but yeah, I guess we did that. And
yeah, y'all told me, like, I think shortly after it happened. I don't know if it was like the same day, but it was definitely within the same week because it was like week 1 or week 2. That,
I don't think we expected the power because I mean week 1 alliances.
Yeah.
Never stick together, and like I don't think we expected the power 5 to just become so tight, especially in that pre-jury.
I think the twist has a lot
I mean,
to
it
like.
became a nice little voting block.
Oh, 1,000%. That twist. That twist really benefited the majority.
Except
like,
for me.
Yeah.
I'm really the only one that got screwed by it.
That's why I feel the season.
I mean, you guys all knew, like, the Power 5 knew that I was like the number 6. So like there was this unwritten rule that Jason was going to go along with the Power of 5 anyway. So like I was there, and Nick, you were absolutely right. Nick, you were right. Nick.
I'm not even going to clock you for it. I just hate when people play the game for 6. Play the game to win or don't play at all.
Oh, I was playing for 6 because I needed my 666.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I needed it for the meme.
Yeah, I was
Billy took it from me.
I was getting ready so hard for Tawny to just expose everything.
I totally should have way sooner than what I did because I only really did it, like was talking to Nolan throughout like everything, like pretty much anything happened in Republic of 1984 got told to Nolan. But I didn't really spill anything until I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm leaving. Like the only like vote I'm gonna have is Nolan's vote. There's no way anyone else's vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had been acting sketchy, Billy had really been acting sketchy, and then it didn't help that on his Zoom call, he and Rachel were sitting there PMing on it because he would sit there and like laugh and just kind of just by his facial expressions and by the tone of his voice whenever I would talk to him on like the calls.
But
I didn't really say anything until I sent like everything to Nick because I felt that Nick had the best chance of staying, and I was wrong.
You were very wrong.
Straight up that I was a big reason why you got put up before you got evicted. But then I was like, no, that's a little bit too fucked up. So I'm gonna hold off on that.
Billy, with that veto, were you saving Sam T no matter what? Like, let's say Michael would have been right, and I hadn't said anything to you. Were you gonna save Sam T over me regardless? Or what was your head at? Because I know I had told you to save Sam T even before veto was played. But what were you thinking? No, I'm not Billy. Nolan. I'm sorry.
Do you mean me and not Sam T?
You? Oh my God! Wow, I just fucked that whole thing up. Okay. Nolan, were you planning on saving me or Sam you? Oof.
Okay, so for me, like my number 1 probably was like Tawny, but I know she like when I started. I mean, but at the same time, I went on a call late at night, like with Sam you almost like every other night basically, and so like that was like a big thing with me. But at the same time, I did feel like after the Hunter thing, I felt obligated to like want to save you. But like at this, because I wanted to like, and I also wanted to just like see Kevin and Billy squirm a bit if I saved Nick. But like when you told me, like we were all 3 of me, Sam, and Nick were on call after like the nom ceremony. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm probably the renom. The best thing that could happen is like I win, pull one of y'all off, and like. I don't know, like I wanted to save you, but I think I would have saved Sam you just because we had a tighter relationship, if that made sense.
That's fair. I get it. I think Sam, you probably would have had a better option to stay. I mean, we were kind of fucked no matter what, but like I completely understand.
I don't know who the target would have been had Nolan took down Nick.
It would probably have been Bryce, maybe.
I think it would have probably shifted to Bryce, honestly.
Yeah.
That would make the most sense because the whole time going in, like Billy's thing was like it's Nick and Bryce gotta go. Nick and Bryce gotta go. And so yeah, I thought you pulled him down just because Sam, you originally won it. And you were like, this is fucked up, I'm pulling him down.
Well, that's what I told Billy. Because like Billy was trying to get me not to use it, and I was like, it's the one chance I'll have in this game to like have power. Like I'm gonna do something.
I will say, Nolan, I do feel bad for how what ended up happening to you because I remember the Hunter vote. Like you came to me, he's like, dude, like I respect whatever you do, but like if you vote to evict Hunter, like I'm fucked. And like I had to sit in front of you and just say like, I don't think you're fucked, but knowing in the back of my mind, I knew you were fucked. And then literally, triple eviction happened and then you didn't have the cards. And I was like, damn, that's tough. Because I did lie a lot, but like there was parts to where I was like truthful with a lot of people. But
yeah,
I feel bad about you.
And like I remember that conversation. I remember that conversation really well, and it's just weird. Like everyone has like their particular edit or what they're looked at from the player's perspective, from the host perspective, from the viewer's perspective, and like I felt like I was always playing. Like I got shifted into some sort of victim role that I never wanted to play, and I was always being like put up like as a pawn, kind of like Gianna was later in the game. And it was just it was like the most frustrating thing because,
I think something that I learned from like playing Sequester that's hard in games is like once your name comes up in the beginning, it's very hard to shift it away because you're just an easy, like whatever, like a choice.
Yeah, and no one has ever won Big Brother from being nominated as a final nominee week 1. So, like it's very hard, and I think the twist was very convoluted, and I don't know. I didn't like the challenge Vendettas to meet Big Brother. It was kind of disgusting.
Yeah, because in theory, it's like, what's the point of even winning Power of 3? Because if somebody, like literally in the Power 5, one of us just needed to win against anybody, and we could just refuse the noms, and we have the votes, and you guys are all gone. So like, if you won, you're fucked. If you didn't win, you're getting put up and you're fucked. So I do agree. I think it was a little dumb, but
it was like the narrative.
You in Power 3 and you just go up both times and you have no power.
Right.
Yeah. The narrative.
Do you guys want to hear the original twist that we had for this season?
Was it was the Taze twist, right?
No. Okay. So the original twist, and I'll tell you why we ended up not doing it. The original twist was that every week there would be 3 nominees, and then the veto would have to be used, but there would not be a replacement nominee. So there would always be 2 nominees at the end of the week. The reason we ended up not doing that is because we did a backwards week in season 2, and so the way we did it was like the people who got this like second amount or highest amount of nominees or whatever, or nominations, would go on the block, and we revealed them all before, so people knew who the renominees were going to be. So the people that were not at risk of going home just didn't give a crap about the rest of the week. And so we felt like if we ended up keeping that twist, anybody who wasn't nominated would really not care about the rest of the week and would end up just knowing they're in the next week, so why should they care about this week? And so we were afraid that people would kind of get bored with that, and so that's why we ended up not doing that.
Oh, yeah. No, I got fucking bored with this. Is what I got bored with. Kevin said it the best. Yeah. Literally, you set this game up for the majority.
Yeah.
Like there was no way this game was ever getting turned around with this twist. You set it up for the majority to run the pre-jury of this game. With it.
The last Big Brother game I played.
It doesn't help that the people in the majority won every week as well, or at least one of them did.
But they wouldn't have necessarily if it wasn't a 3-person win.
Only way
that's what I'm saying.
Is if the 3 people that won were all in the minority. That's the only way.
Yeah, that was the only way the minority gets any footing in this game.
We were open about like, look, if one of us is up, because we were like, either it's better if all 3 of us are up, or only one of us is up. Because if one of us is up, we have 4 votes. And you can just refuse and go up. So,
right.
But it definitely, yeah, like obviously
So-
it helped me in the game, but it was kind of it got kind of annoying.
I wanted to ask you, just like how Santee and Xander sacrificed, and you always said you would go up. Would you have sacrificed yourself if you went up?
Yes, I would have gone up. Yeah, 1,000%.
Fair enough. I wouldn't. So
Like
I guess-
I would say the only way that I think I would have hesitated. It would really depended who the other power of three were. But yeah, I was pretty sure at that point, like I would have had the votes to stay regardless. So I was willing to go up. But I think only one.
I think like I hated how like there was this big alliance, and then the narrative was, okay, well, it's Hunter versus Sam T, pick a side, and that would basically like kind of like controlled the latter half of the pre-jury. Like the first 3 rounds are kind of boring. Like Galen goes home week 1 against me because I don't know. First week, whatever. Then Justin had a meltdown in week 1, so he gets put as a target. Sean's inactive. He basically volunteers to go home. And from that point on, it was like big person goes home, big person goes home, big person goes home, big person goes home. Like, which led to from like outsiders' perspective, like from the first early jury members, like me, Nick, and Sam, without knowing much, when we saw like the final 3, we're like, what the hell? Like, I guess before knowing like what everyone was telling us, just based on what we left.
I will say the one thing that actually hurt my feelings is because I like what Kevin said earlier, like touchy subjects was a big indicator to who's with who. And I remember it was like, who doesn't deserve to be on this cast? And then Nick goes Rizzo. And I was the only person, he was the only person that said my name for that. I was like, damn, Nick, like, I love you, buddy. Like, I mean, listen, we didn't work together in the game. I was like, damn, that one hurted.
That's
They
such a
want to be
hard
upset about
question.
touchy subjects.
I hate that question so much.
Yeah.
Like
But like Rizzo, you were the people pleaser. I told you to your face. I was like, I feel like you're a people pleaser. I feel like all you're doing is pleasing who you need to please, and that's what was my perception of your game. I loved having you here, but like I was like, at least Gianna's like, she's hitting that block, she's seeing that block, she's fighting, she's coming off of it, she's staying in this game. Someone like that deserves to be here over someone who just pleases people to coast by. That was in my opinion anyway.
Which is, like I said, fair, and that's why I like kind of.
But I love you.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I don't mean that. I had to pick somebody. It wasn't like if I could have picked no one, I would have picked no one. I didn't like the question, but
no,
I'm sure that wouldn't have been allowed.
No, I know, but I remember watching it back. I was like, damn.
I mean,
Are I getting it, Rizzo? Yeah,
the thing
exactly.
about touchy subjects is that like people must have thought because Tawny was going home that like not to select her name, but like not when filling it out, but when like actually saying who was the person, because like Tawny's won at least like 2 or 3 of the things if I'm like remembering correctly.
Yeah, that's why like I kind of would have. I didn't like how we still were able to like. I felt that if whoever got evicted, their names should have been taken out.
Yeah, but also that would have required me to go last minute while we're in the HOH and go take all those votes out and all that stuff. So
Thanks for saying I was cute though, y'all. I appreciate that.
It was really hard between 2 people. It was like pretty clear cut.
So we have been on here for a while, so I am going to stop the recording, though you guys are allowed to stay on here. You guys will shortly be added to the alumni chat. We'll get the chart out there. We'll get the chart posted. We will get the touchy subject answers out there eventually. And yeah, so a lot of stuff's about to be thrown out there. But yeah, thank you guys for a great season. Anybody who is, if anybody's watching this, I doubt it, but if anybody's watching this at this point, since this is a very long video, if you want to try this, there are many orgs that are casting. Please try it if you've never played an org before. This is a very fun experience. You meet people and get relationships that you would never have without orgs. I am not sure when the next 1984 season will happen, but inevitably there will be another one. So when that happens, we would love to have new faces. So with that is all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for a great season. Good night.